High Admiral Vex Thorn stood tall on the command bridge of the inevitable conquest, flagship of the Zolaxian hegemony's grand fleet. His forearms were clasped behind his back, all 6 of his yellow eyes fixed on the blue-green planet displayed on the main view screen, Earth. Such a simple name for such a troublesome world. Status report, Vex Thorn demanded, his voice echoing in the silent bridge. Subcommander Krall approached with a data tablet. Our observation is complete, High Admiral. The humans have developed nuclear weapons, primitive space travel, and global communication systems. They are on the verge of becoming a potential threat. Vex Thorn flicked 2 of his eyes toward the subcommander while keeping the others on Earth. And their military capabilities? Fragmented, sir. They fight among themselves constantly. They have never faced an external enemy. The largest nations possess significant arsenals, but they lack unity or experience with space warfare. The Admiral made a clicking sound that passed for Zolaxian laughter. Primitive and divided. The Council chose wisely in targeting them now, before they develop further. The Zolaxian hegemony had ruled over 17 star systems for nearly 1,000 years. Their strategy was always the same: identify emerging civilizations and conquer them before they could become rivals. Earth had been monitored since humans first began broadcasting radio signals into space. Now the Council had decided it was time to act. Prepare the formal declaration transmission, Vex Thorn ordered. Target their global governing assembly. Show them our full fleet deployment. They will surrender immediately. Subcommander Krall hesitated. Sir, our intelligence suggests that humans are unpredictable. They might not respond as expected. Nonsense. All species fear the hegemony. It is the natural order. Vex Thorn dismissed the concern with a wave of his lower right arm. Begin the transmission. At the United Nations headquarters in New York, the Security Council was in session. Representatives from 15 nations sat around the large circular table, discussing increased tensions in the South China Sea. It was a routine meeting until every screen in the room suddenly went blank. What's happening? Demanded the Secretary General, looking toward the technical staff. One of the technicians was frantically checking his tablet. Sir, we're receiving a powerful transmission overriding our systems. It's not coming from Earth. The screens flickered to life, showing the image of Vex Thorn. The alien's appearance, tall, four-armed, with yellowish scaly skin and 6 eyes, caused an immediate hush to fall over the room. People of Earth, the alien began, its voice translated. Through an advanced system that rendered it in all Earth languages simultaneously, I am High Admiral Vex Thorn of the Zolaxian hegemony, rulers of 17 star systems, and the dominant power in this sector of the galaxy. The camera pulled back to reveal a massive fleet of warships, each one dwarfing the largest vessels humans had ever built. Your planet has been observed and deemed a potential threat to galactic stability. Your tendency toward violence, your rapid technological advancement, and your uncontrolled population growth cannot be permitted to spread beyond your world. Therefore, by order of the Hegemony Council, I formally declare war upon Earth. The alien paused dramatically before continuing. Surrender your governments to hegemony control within 1 Earth rotation, and your transition to subject status will be peaceful. Resist, and we will demonstrate our power by eliminating your largest city. You have no defenses against our technology. Resistance is pointless. This is the natural order of the galaxy. The transmission ended, and the screens returned to normal. For several seconds, no one spoke. The representatives stared at each other in shock. Then something unexpected happened. The representative from France snorted. The delegate from Brazil let out a chuckle. Within moments, the entire Security Council chamber erupted in laughter. Admiral Zhu Li of the Chinese delegation leaned over to his American counterpart, General Sarah Mitchell. They have no idea what they're getting themselves into, do they? He whispered, shaking his head. General Mitchell's laugh faded into a determined smile. Not a clue, but they're about to find out. The Secretary General raised his hands, calling for order. Ladies and gentlemen, it seems Earth has received its first alien contact, and it's a declaration of war. I suggest we respond appropriately. The Russian representative stood. I move that we activate the Outer Space Threat Protocol immediately. The protocol had been created decades ago, a contingency plan developed in secret by the world's military powers. Few believed it would ever be needed. It called for the immediate unification of Earth's military forces under a joint command to repel extraterrestrial threats. "Seconded," said the British representative. "All in favor?" asked the Secretary General. Every hand in the room went up without hesitation. Then it's decided. General Mitchell, Admiral Zhu, you will serve as initial co-commanders of Earth's defense forces. I'll contact all member nations immediately. As the meeting broke up, the Secretary General pulled General Mitchell aside. "Why were you laughing, General? We're facing an alien invasion force." Mitchell's face turned serious. "Sir, that alien just made 3 critical mistakes. First, he announced his intentions instead of simply attacking. Second, he's given us time to prepare. And third," she paused, "he thinks we're afraid of war. Aren't we? Sir, humanity has been at war with itself for our entire history. We've developed thousands of ways to kill each other. We've created weapons that can destroy our entire planet. And now, finally, we have someone else to fight." Mitchell shook her head. "That poor alien has no idea what he's just unleashed." Within hours, the world's response was unlike anything in human history. Ancient enemies set aside differences. Military secrets were shared. Scientists from rival nations began collaborating on defense projects. At NASA headquarters, Dr. James Wong was analyzing the alien transmission with colleagues from Russia's Roscosmos, the European Space Agency, and China's space program. "Look at the signal pattern," he pointed to a display showing waveform analysis. "Their transmission technology operates on principles similar to our quantum communication experiments, but at a scale we've only theorized." Dr. Svetlana Petrova from Russia nodded. "And that could be their weakness. These patterns suggest their ships use the same technology for navigation and weapons targeting. Which means," added Dr. Li from China, "that we might be able to disrupt their entire fleet with a properly calibrated countersignal." Dr. Wong smiled. "Exactly. They think we're primitives because we still use outdated radio technology. But that means we understand something they've forgotten: how to fight in conditions of signal disruption." Back on the inevitable conquest, Vexathorn watched the planet with growing impatience. "No response yet, High Admiral," reported Subcommander Krall. "Strange. By now they should be begging for mercy." Vexthorn tapped his claws on the command console. "What are our observers reporting?" "Unusual activity, sir. Their military vessels are moving, gathering. Their aircraft are mobilizing, and we're detecting increased communications across all their networks." Vexthorn's eyes narrowed. "They're preparing to fight? Impossible. No species has ever resisted the hegemony's first warning." "There's more, sir. They're broadcasting a response, audio only, directed at our ship. Play it." The bridge speakers activated, and a human voice filled the command center. It was General Mitchell. "Solaxian hegemony, this is Earth. We've received your declaration of war and have a simple response. Bring it on." The transmission ended with the sound that had filled the UN chamber earlier: human laughter. Vexthorn stared at the planet in disbelief. "They laugh? At us? The hegemony?" "Perhaps they don't understand the seriousness," Krall began. "Prepare the demonstration fleet," Vexthorn snapped. "Target their largest city. We will show them the price of disrespect." As the orders went out, Vexathorn couldn't shake a new and uncomfortable feeling. For the first time in his long military career, he felt uncertain. What kind of species laughs? When threatened with destruction? He was about to find out. Sub-Commander Krall entered the strategy room aboard the inevitable Conquest, with a data tablet clutched in his lower arms. The Hegemony's War Council had gathered around the holographic display of Earth, their expressions grim after the humans' unexpected response. "High Admiral, I've completed the deep analysis of human history you requested," Krall announced, placing the tablet on the central table. Vexthorn picked up the device with one of his upper arms. "Tell me what you found. Why would these primitives laugh at our declaration?" "Sir, it appears we may have misunderstood humans." Krall sounded nervous. They have been at war with each other continuously for their entire recorded history. Their technology, their science, even their entertainment is shaped by conflict. The hologram shifted to show scenes from human history, ancient battles, world wars, modern conflicts. In the last century alone, they developed weapons of mass destruction, then built even more powerful ones. They've created defense systems against their own weapons. And sir, they've been imagining alien invasions for generations. The display showed clips from human films depicting alien attacks and human victories. Admiral Krex, commander of the demonstration fleet, scoffed. Fiction, entertainment. These mean nothing in real combat. Kral continued. But sir, these imaginings have led them to develop theoretical defenses against exactly the kind of attack we're planning. Their military leaders have contingency plans for alien invasion. Bexthorn's eyes narrowed. You're suggesting these primitives could pose an actual threat to the hegemony? No, High Admiral, Kral said quickly. Merely that they may not surrender as easily as we expected. They've never faced external enemies, but they've been fighting themselves for thousands of years. They're prepared for us in ways we didn't anticipate. Bexthorn stood towering over the table. It changes nothing. Admiral Krex, proceed with the demonstration attack. Target their largest population center, New York. Show them our power. Once they see their primitive defenses fail, they will understand their position. Admiral Krex saluted with all four arms. It will be done, High Admiral. The demonstration fleet launches in 6 hours. At the newly established Earth Defense Command in the underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Mitchell and Admiral Zhu reviewed the global defense preparations. Representatives from every major military power stood around the central command table. The satellite network is in place, reported the head of the European Space Agency. We've repurposed every communication satellite we could to create the disruption grid. And the quantum interference generators? Asked Admiral Zhu. Dr. Wong stepped forward. Ready, sir. Based on our analysis of their transmission, we believe we can completely disrupt their ship-to-ship communications and possibly their navigation systems. General Mitchell nodded. What about conventional defenses? Every missile silo, every aircraft, every ship is on high alert, said the Russian general. If these aliens come within range, they'll face everything we've got. And Project Sunburst? Mitchell asked. A scientist from India spoke up. The prototype is ready. It's never been tested in actual combat conditions, but the theory is sound. If they use the energy weapons we detected in their transmission, the reflector shield should redirect the energy back at their ships. Mitchell looked around the room. I know this seems impossible. 24 hours ago, we didn't even know aliens existed. Now we're preparing to fight them. But humanity has been preparing for this moment for longer than we realized. She activated the main screen, showing a global map with defense positions. All those years of war games, science fiction, and military planning are about to pay off. These Zolaxians think we're primitive because we still fight each other. They don't understand that's exactly what makes us dangerous. Admiral Zhu pointed to a flashing indicator at the edge of the solar system. They're moving. A small fleet has broken from the main group and is heading toward Earth. Estimated arrival, 3 hours. That'll be their demonstration force, Mitchell said. Just as we predicted. They want to frighten us into submission. She turned to the communications officer. Send a message to every military unit. Operation Welcome Party is a go. Dr. Sarah Chen stood in her laboratory at MIT, surrounded by the world's leading physicists and engineers. On the main screen was a simulation of the Zolaxian ships based on the limited data they had. The key is their quantum communication system, she explained, pointing to a pulsating node in the ship model. It's incredibly advanced, allowing instant communication across vast distances. But it has a critical vulnerability. She tapped her tablet and the simulation changed to show Earth's radio waves interacting with the alien technology. They abandoned radio centuries ago. Their systems have no shielding against what they consider obsolete technology. Our simple radio waves at high enough power will create a cascading disruption in their quantum field. One of the German engineers looked skeptical. You're saying we can disable advanced alien warships with radio waves? Dr. Chen smiled. Exactly. It's like finding out a modern army can be defeated by throwing sand in their electronic systems. Sometimes older technology has advantages they never considered. Her phone buzzed with a priority message. They're coming. We have less than 3 hours. She looked around the room. Let's finish the calibrations and join the others at the command center. Admiral Kreck stood proudly on the bridge of the Swift Justice, lead ship of the demonstration fleet. 10 of the hegemony's most advanced destroyers followed in perfect formation as they approached the blue planet. No sign of organized resistance, reported his sensor officer. Their primitive satellites are tracking us, but they have no weapons capable of reaching us at this distance. As expected, Kreck said with satisfaction. Begin deceleration for orbital position over their city of New York. Prepare the primary cannon for demonstration firing. The communications officer spoke up. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the planet. Audio only. Let's hear their surrender, Kreck said confidently. Instead of surrender, a calm female voice filled the bridge. Attention Zolaxian fleet. This is Dr. Sarah Chen of Earth. We've analyzed your ship's communication systems and found them interesting. We thought you might appreciate this demonstration of our own. The transmission cut off. The Zolaxians looked at each other in confusion. What was that supposed to? Krex began, but was interrupted by alarms blaring throughout the ship. Admiral, our systems are failing. The quantum field is collapsing. The tactical officer's voice rose in panic. Across the bridge, control panels flickered and died. Emergency lighting activated as the main power systems failed. What's happening? Krex demanded. The sensor officer worked frantically at his station. Sir, the humans. They're broadcasting some kind of interference pattern. It's disrupting our quantum field. We've lost ship-to-ship communication, weapons targeting, and navigation. Impossible. Krex slammed his fists on his command chair. Switch to emergency protocols. Restore power. Outside, the 10 Zolaxian ships drifted helplessly in Earth's orbit, their formations breaking as they lost control of their navigation systems. In the Earth Defense Command Center, cheers erupted as the monitors showed the alien fleet's disarray. It worked, Dr. Wong exclaimed. Their ships are dead in space. General Mitchell didn't join the celebration. Phase 2. Launch the intercept teams now before they can adapt. Around the world, specially modified space shuttles and experimental military spacecraft launched from hidden bases. Each carried a boarding team of elite special forces soldiers from various nations, all trained in zero-gravity combat. Remember, Mitchell addressed the teams through her comlink. We need prisoners and intact technology. Disable, don't destroy unless absolutely necessary. Aboard the Swift Justice, chaos reigned. The emergency systems provided minimal power, but most of the ship's advanced functions remained offline. Admiral Krex was shouting orders when a junior officer interrupted. Sir, small craft approaching from the planet. Dozens of them. Krex stared in disbelief at the emergency display. Primitive human vessels were surrounding his fleet. Impossible. They have no spacefaring military capability. The ship shuddered as something attached to the hull. They're boarding us, sir. The security feed showed armored humans cutting through an airlock. Their equipment looked primitive compared to Zolaxian technology, but it was clearly effective. Repel them. All warriors to defensive positions, Krex ordered, drawing his own sidearm. But the Zolaxian crew, trained to rely on their superior technology, found themselves outmatched by human soldiers who had spent their lives training for combat in every imaginable condition. The humans moved with practiced precision, using simple but effective tactics to overwhelm the confused aliens. Within an hour, all 10 ships of the demonstration fleet had been captured. Admiral Krex, surrounded by human soldiers in his own command center, could only watch in stunned disbelief. A human female entered the bridge. Dr. Chen, accompanied by General Mitchell. Admiral Krex, I presume, Mitchell said. I'm General Sarah Mitchell of Earth's Defense Forces. Your ship and fleet are now under our control. Krex stood as tall as his forearms would allow. This is impossible. You're primitives. You have no space combat experience. Dr. Chen smiled. True, we've never fought in space before, but we've been imagining it, planning for it. And High Admiral Vexathorn stared at the empty display where Admiral Krex's demonstration fleet had been. His bridge crew worked in unusual silence, the gravity of their situation apparent to all. The unthinkable had happened. A primitive species had not only resisted the hegemony but had captured an entire battle group. How? Vexathorn hissed, his 6 eyes blinking in sequence, a sign of extreme stress in Zolaxians. How could primitives who have barely left their own atmosphere defeat our most advanced ships? Sub-Commander Kral approached cautiously. Sir, we've received a detailed analysis from our spy drones. The humans used a coordinated electromagnetic pulse, tuned specifically to disrupt our quantum field technology. They determined our weakness from a single transmission. Vexthorn's scales darkened with rage. Impossible. No species could reverse engineer our technology so quickly. Sir, Kral continued, there's more. They've been broadcasting a message for the last hour. It's directed at you personally. The Admiral straightened his posture. Display it. The main screen activated to show General Mitchell seated at what appeared to be a command center. Beside her was Admiral Zhu, and behind them stood several high-ranking military officials from various human nations. High Admiral Vexithorn. Mitchell began, her tone formal but with a hint of amusement. Your demonstration fleet has been disabled and captured intact. Your personnel are being treated well, in accordance with Earth's Geneva Conventions regarding prisoners of war. She leaned forward slightly. We are offering you a single chance to avoid further conflict. Withdraw your forces from our solar system immediately, and recognize Earth's sovereignty. We have no interest in your territory or resources. We simply wish to be left alone. Admiral Zhu spoke next. However, should you choose to continue this unnecessary war, be aware that we are now analyzing your vessels and weapon systems. Every moment you delay gives us more insight into your technology. Mitchell nodded. You have 6 Earth hours to respond. After that, we will consider your silence as a decision to continue hostilities. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in silence. They're bluffing, growled War Master Draz, the fleet's tactical commander. They cannot possibly understand our technology so quickly, and even with 10 destroyers they cannot stand against the main fleet. Vexthorn turned to face his war council. The humans are more dangerous than we anticipated, but the hegemony has never retreated, never surrendered. The council would have us all executed for even considering their terms. He activated the fleet-wide communication system. Prepare all vessels for combat. We will launch the full invasion in 5 hours, before their deadline expires. This time there will be no warnings, no demonstrations. We will strike with everything we have. As his commanders hurried to comply, Vexthorn added, and find a way to shield our quantum systems from their primitive interference. I want our ships immune to their tricks. In the newly established Earth Space Command Center beneath the Rocky Mountains, General Mitchell watched as teams of scientists and engineers worked frantically on the captured alien technology. How much have we learned? She asked Dr. Chen, who was coordinating the research efforts. More than you can imagine, Chen replied, her eyes bright with excitement despite her exhaustion. Their quantum field technology is centuries beyond our theoretical understanding, but their basic engineering has surprising weaknesses. They've been relying on technological superiority for so long they've forgotten fundamental combat principles. Mitchell nodded. Like having backup systems and redundancies. Exactly. Their ships have almost no electromagnetic shielding, because they abandoned that technology generations ago, and their weapon systems, while powerful, require perfect targeting calculations that depend on their quantum network. Admiral Zhu joined them, studying the holographic display of the Zolaxian fleet's position. They're moving into attack formation. They're not waiting for the deadline. Mitchell wasn't surprised. As expected, are we ready for Phase 2? Operation Trojan Horse is complete, confirmed the NASA director. All satellites are in position. The Zolaxians still think they're just communication relays. Mitchell turned to the global command staff. Send the alert. All defense forces to final positions. Activate the satellite network on my mark. Around the world, military units moved into predetermined defensive formations. Civilian populations had already been relocated to underground shelters or rural areas, away from likely targets. The captured Zolaxian ships had given Earth's defenders crucial insights into alien tactics and targets. Dr. Wong approached with a tablet displaying new information. General, we've detected energy signatures suggesting the Zolaxians are attempting to modify their shields. They're trying to protect against our radio disruption. Mitchell smiled grimly. Good thing we have a backup plan. Aboard the inevitable Conquest, Vexthorn watched as the massive armada moved toward Earth. Over 300 warships formed the largest invasion force the hegemony had assembled in centuries. The humans' primitive defenses would be overwhelmed by sheer numbers, even if a few ships were vulnerable to their interference tricks. Fleet is in final approach position. "Hi, Admiral," reported the navigation officer. "All weapons are charged and ready. Quantum shields have been modified with the new frequency modulators. Their disruption signals should no longer affect us." "Excellent." Vexthorn's voice was cold with determination. "Begin the attack. No mercy, no prisoners. The humans must learn the price of defying the hegemony." As the fleet accelerated toward Earth, tactical displays showed the planet's defensive posture. Military vessels had positioned themselves in defensive formations, and countless aircraft circled major cities. But most interesting were the hundreds of small satellites that had been deployed in the hours since the demonstration fleet's capture. "Analysis of those satellites?" Vexthorn demanded. The sensor officer responded confidently. "Simple communication relays, sir. Primitive technology. No weapon signatures detected. They're trying to maintain communications after we destroy their main systems," War Master Draz concluded. "Pointless," Vexthorn nodded. "Proceed with the primary attack plan. Target their military installations first, then government centers, then population." Alarms suddenly blared across the bridge. "Sir, the satellites! They're—" Before the officer could finish, the harmless satellites activated simultaneously. Instead of communication relays, they were weapon platforms disguised to mask their true purpose. Each unleashed a powerful electromagnetic pulse, creating a web of disruptive energy that enveloped the Zolaxian fleet. "Quantum shields failing," shouted the defensive systems officer. "The humans, they tricked us." Vexthorn gripped his command chair as the main power fluctuated. "How? We modified the shields." "Sir, these aren't radio waves. They're using focused gravitational pulses." "The technology is from our own ships." Across the fleet, ships began losing power as their main systems failed. The carefully planned formation dissolved into chaos as captains tried desperately to maintain control of their vessels. From Earth's surface, the coordinated attack looked like a silent light show in orbit. The satellite network, Operation Trojan Horse N, had been built using technology reverse-engineered from the captured demonstration fleet. Each satellite contained a miniaturized version of the Zolaxians' own gravitational weapons, modified to target their quantum field generators. In the command center, Mitchell watched the tactical display with grim satisfaction. Phase 3. Launch our birds. Around the world, experimental spacecraft that had been in development for decades launched from hidden bases. Some were military projects, others repurposed civilian vessels, all now equipped with weapons based on Zolaxian technology. Leading the Earth fleet was the EDS Retaliation, a converted space shuttle carrying Admiral Zhu and a mixed crew of pilots from 5 nations. As they approached the disarrayed alien armada, Zhu opened a channel to all Earth vessels. "Remember your training. Target their command ships first. Their hierarchy is rigid. Without leaders, their forces will be even more disorganized. Use the gravitational disruptors first, then conventional weapons for any resistant vessels. Good hunting." The Earth fleet, though smaller and more primitive than the Zolaxian armada, had 3 crucial advantages: functioning weapons, intimate knowledge of the enemy's weaknesses, and crews who had spent their entire lives training for combat. The battle in Earth's orbit lasted less than 2 hours. Zolaxian ships, designed for overwhelming technological superiority, found themselves unable to combat enemies who could think creatively in crisis. Human pilots executed maneuvers the aliens had never seen, using the captured technology in ways its creators had never imagined. On the inevitable conquest, Thorn watched in horror as his mighty fleet was systematically dismantled by primitive spacecraft, piloted by beings who had only recently achieved spaceflight. "We've lost contact with the 3rd battle group," reported a communications officer, his voice shaking. "The 5th and 7th are reporting severe damage. War Master Draz's command ship has been disabled." The bridge rocked as something struck the flagship's hull. The emergency lighting flickered ominously. "How?" Vexthorn demanded of no one in particular. 1 month after the battle in Earth's orbit, the United Nations headquarters in New York hosted an unprecedented gathering. Representatives from 17 alien worlds sat alongside human delegates in the General Assembly chamber. These were ambassadors from planets once conquered by the Zolaxian hegemony, now seeking new alliances in a rapidly changing galactic landscape. In a specially constructed holding area, High Admiral Vexthorn watched the proceedings on a monitor. His once impressive uniform had been replaced by simple gray clothing, though he had been treated with the respect due a defeated military commander, rather than as a criminal. Two human guards stood nearby, alert but not threatening. The door opened, and General Mitchell entered, accompanied by Dr. Chen and a blue-skinned, four-armed alien that Vexthorn recognized as a Nexari, one of the first species conquered by the hegemony centuries ago. "Hi, Admiral." Mitchell greeted him formally. "This is Ambassador Trelkon of Nexari. He has requested to speak with you before the council session." Vexthorn's scales rippled with surprise. "A Nexari ambassador? Impossible. Nexari are a servant class." Ambassador Trelkon stepped forward, his large eyes studying the fallen Zolaxian leader. "That is what your people told the galaxy, Admiral. That is what your people told us." But it was never true. Mitchell nodded to the guards who stepped outside, leaving them alone with the prisoner. "We've been learning a great deal about the hegemony, Admiral," Mitchell said, taking a seat across from Vexthorn. "And about the true history of the 17 worlds you claim to rule." Dr. Chen activated a tablet, displaying images of various alien species and star systems. "The hegemony's empire was built on a foundation of deception, wasn't it? Your actual military capabilities were far less impressive than you led others to believe." Vexthorn's outer eyes narrowed. "What have you been told?" Ambassador Trelkon spoke softly. "The truth, Admiral. That the Zolaxian hegemony conquered only 2 worlds through actual military force. My own Nexari and the Voltar system. The rest were subjugated through a combination of threats, technological sabotage, and carefully managed demonstrations. Your strategy was brilliant. Actually," Mitchell added with what almost sounded like professional respect. "You'd identify developing civilizations, study their weaknesses, then threaten them with overwhelming force. You'd stage a small demonstration of your technology, always carefully selected to exploit their particular vulnerabilities, and they would surrender without a real fight." Vexthorn remained silent, his posture rigid. "But humans were different," Dr. Chen continued. "When you declared war, we didn't see an unstoppable force. We saw an enemy making tactical errors. We saw vulnerability disguised as strength." Ambassador Trelkon leaned forward. "Admiral, the hegemony's fall has revealed truth throughout the sector. The 17 worlds are forming a new alliance, one based on cooperation rather than dominance. Even your own people are embracing change. The Hegemony Council has been disbanded, and a provisional government has requested to join our discussions." This news visibly shocked Vexthorn. "The Council? Gone. Impossible." "Not impossible," Mitchell corrected. "Inevitable. Your defeat at Earth exposed the reality behind the hegemony's power. Once other species realized the great Zolaxian military was largely smoke and mirrors, the fear that maintained your control vanished." Dr. Chen's tablet displayed images of Zolaxian ships being peacefully evacuated from various worlds. "Most of your forces have surrendered without firing a shot. There's been remarkably little bloodshed." Vexthorn's scales darkened with what the humans had learned was shame or distress. "You've destroyed 1,000 years of order." "No," Ambassador Trelkon said firmly. "You created 1,000 years of oppression based on fear and deception. The humans have offered something different, respect and true alliance." Mitchell stood. "You'll be brought before the Assembly in 1 hour, Admiral. Not for punishment, but to witness the creation of the new Galactic Cooperative. Your testimony about the true nature of the hegemony will be requested." As they turned to leave, Vexthorn spoke. "Wait, I still don't understand. You humans have technology capable of devastating planetary assaults now. You've captured our weapons, our ships. Why aren't you using them to establish your own dominance?" Mitchell paused at the door. "Because that's not who we are, Admiral. Despite our violent history, or perhaps because of it, we've learned that real strength comes from cooperation, not conquest." After they left, Vexthorn sat alone, contemplating how thoroughly he and the entire hegemony had misunderstood humans from the very beginning. Captain Elena Reyes of the EDS Discovery stood on the bridge of her ship, gazing at the magnificent ringed planet below. The former Zolaxian colony world of Paraxis had requested Earth's assistance in rebuilding after centuries of resource extraction under hegemony rule. "Captain," her first officer reported, "the Paraxian Chancellor is ready to receive our delegation." Elena nodded. "Prepare the shuttle. Dr. Patel, is your environmental team ready?" The Indian scientist checked her tablet. "Yes, Captain." We've analyzed the atmospheric degradation and have several restoration proposals to present. In the 3 months since the hegemony's fall, human ships had traveled to all 17 formerly subjugated worlds, offering assistance and building relationships. Unlike the Zolaxians, who had taken resources and given little in return, Earth had offered technology, medical aid, and environmental expertise without demanding control or obedience. As the landing party prepared to depart, Elena received a priority communication from Earth Command. General Mitchell's face appeared on the screen. Captain Reyes, status update. General, we're about to meet with Paraxian leadership to discuss ecological restoration projects. Their atmosphere was severely damaged by Zolaxian mining operations. Mitchell nodded. Good. I have new information you should be aware of. Our intelligence teams have finished analyzing the hegemony's central database from their homeworld. Elena noticed the general's serious expression. Something concerning? Potentially. The Zolaxians weren't the only expansionist power in this sector. There's evidence of another empire, the Dracon Collective, beyond the former hegemony's borders. They appear to be more militarily capable than the Zolaxians ever were. Elena understood the implication, and with the hegemony gone, there's nothing to keep them from expanding into this territory. Exactly. We've shared this information with the Cooperative Council. Increase your security posture but maintain your diplomatic mission. We don't want to create panic. After the transmission ended, Elena stared out at the alien world below. Humanity had barely begun to explore its interstellar neighborhood, and already they faced another potential threat. But this time they wouldn't be facing it alone. On Earth, in what had once been a military command center, but was now the headquarters for the new interstellar cooperative, Dr. Sarah Chen led a diverse team of human and alien scientists. They were studying Zolaxian technology alongside innovations from other worlds, creating a shared knowledge base that benefited all species. The quantum field generators could be adapted for atmospheric cleanup, suggested a Voltar physicist, his tentacles manipulating a holographic model. The Paraxian situation could be improved significantly, Dr. Chen nodded. And combined with Nexari filter technology, we could accelerate the process tenfold. Their work was interrupted when Admiral Zhu entered with Subcommander Kral, who had become an unofficial liaison between humans and Zolaxians. The former enemy officer had shown surprising adaptability to the new political reality. Dr. Chen, Zhu said, we have a situation requiring scientific consultation. Our deep space monitoring network has detected unusual energy signatures from the direction of Dracon space. Chen activated the main display, showing the sensor readings. This pattern, it's similar to the quantum signatures of Zolaxian ships, but much more powerful. Kral studied the data with all 6 eyes. Dracon drive systems. They're mobilizing a fleet. How serious is this threat? Chen asked. Kral's scales rippled with concern. The Dracon Collective is what the hegemony pretended to be, a truly advanced military power with territorial ambitions. They remained beyond our borders because the cost of war would have been too high for either side. But now they see opportunity in the hegemony's fall. Zhu finished. We should inform the Cooperative Council immediately, Chen said. If the Dracons are truly mobilizing, all 17 worlds could be at risk. As they hurried to the council chamber, Chen reflected on how quickly things had changed. 3 months ago, humans had never encountered alien life. Now they were helping to coordinate the defense of 17 worlds against a new threat. The Cooperative Council convened an emergency session. Representatives from Earth sat alongside delegates from all former hegemony worlds, with additional observers from 3 neighboring star systems interested in joining the alliance. General Mitchell presented the intelligence about Dracon movements, then yielded the floor to Kral, who explained what was known about Dracon military capabilities. Unlike the hegemony, Kral explained, the Dracons rely on genuine technological superiority and overwhelming force. Their typical strategy is to destroy all military assets, then demand unconditional surrender. Ambassador Trelkon of Nexari spoke next. Our world remembers the Dracons from before the hegemony's conquest. They are builders, and in of 6 months after the fall of the Zolaxian hegemony, a diplomatic vessel approached the border of Dracon collective space. The EDS Harmony, a converted Zolaxian cruiser now serving as the flagship of the Cooperative's diplomatic corps. carried representatives from Earth, Zolaxia, and 5 other former hegemony worlds. On the bridge, Ambassador James Rodriguez of Earth studied the star chart showing their position. Beside him stood High Admiral Vexithorn, now serving as the Zolaxian representative to the Cooperative Council. "The Dracons have acknowledged our transmission," reported the communications officer. "They've granted permission for us to proceed to Drake Prime for discussions." Rodriguez nodded. "Good. Admiral Vexthorn, what should we expect?" The Zolaxian scales rippled thoughtfully. "Display and ceremony. The Dracons value appearances. They will attempt to intimidate us with shows of military might and technological prowess. Similar to the hegemony's approach," Rodriguez noted. "Yes, but with one crucial difference," Vexithorn replied. "The Dracons actually possess the power they display. They will not be bluffing." Dr. Chen, who had joined the diplomatic mission as a scientific advisor, looked up from her console. "Our scans are already detecting defensive platforms throughout this sector. Their technology is impressive, perhaps a century beyond even Zolaxian standards." Rodriguez remained calm. He had been chosen for this mission partly because of his experience as a negotiator in Earth's most volatile regions before first contact. "Remember our strategy. We approach not as supplicants or potential conquests, but as equals offering mutually beneficial alliance." As the Harmony continued toward Dracon space, a small fleet of sleek, intimidating warships appeared to escort them. The Dracon vessels moved with precision that impressed even the veteran space travelers aboard. "Quite the welcome committee," observed Admiral Zhu, who commanded the Harmony's security forces. 12 warships for a diplomatic vessel." "As expected," Vexthorn said. "They want us to see their capabilities." Rodriguez smiled slightly. "Then let's show them ours. Dr. Chen, activate the translation matrix." Chen touched her console, activating a device that combined Zolaxian quantum technology with human innovation. It would allow real-time communication without reliance on Dracon translation systems, a small but significant demonstration of the Cooperative's own technological advancement. As they approached Drake Prime, the crew of the Harmony prepared for what might be the most important diplomatic mission in human history, one that could determine whether the galaxy faced a new war or a lasting peace. The Dracon capital was a marvel of engineering, a city of crystalline towers and suspended walkways built within an artificial atmosphere bubble on an otherwise uninhabitable moon. The diplomatic team was escorted to the Grand Council chamber, an imposing structure at the city's center. The Dracons themselves were tall, slender beings with iridescent skin and forearms similar to Zolaxians, but with elongated fingers and pronounced cranial ridges. They moved with a fluid grace that suggested both strength and precision. Supreme Overseer Malcor, leader of the collective, sat upon an elevated platform surrounded by military commanders and scientific advisors. His voice, when he spoke, resonated with authority. "Representatives of the Cooperative," he began, a slight pause suggesting his unfamiliarity or perhaps discomfort with the term. "The collective acknowledges your request for diplomatic relations. We are curious about this new alliance that has emerged from the ashes of the hegemony." Ambassador Rodriguez stepped forward. "Supreme Overseer, I bring greetings from Earth and all worlds of the Cooperative. We come seeking peaceful coexistence and mutual benefit through trade and cultural exchange." Malcor's eyes, silver orbs without visible pupils, fixed on Rodriguez. "Earth, the world that defeated the Zolaxian hegemony. Your species was unknown to us until recently. We are newcomers to interstellar affairs," Rodriguez acknowledged, "but we value learning from those with greater experience even as we offer fresh perspectives." The Overseer's attention shifted to Vexthorn. "High Admiral, your presence here is unexpected. The mighty hegemony now sends its war leaders to sue for peace?" Vexthorn stood tall, his dignity intact despite his changed status. "I represent Zolaxia as a member world of the Cooperative, Overseer. Like all members, we have equal standing and equal voice." This concept seemed to amuse Malcor. "Equal standing? A novel approach to interstellar relations. The collective has found hierarchy to be more efficient." Rodriguez seized the opportunity to make their position clear. "Each system has its merits, Overseer. The Cooperative has found that diversity of thought and approach creates strength. We would welcome the Dracon Collective as a valued trading partner and ally." A Dracon military commander leaned forward. Your cooperative controls 17 worlds formerly under hegemony rule, plus Earth. You approach the borders of collective space with unprecedented rapidity. Some might view this as expansionism, not peaceful coexistence. Admiral Zhu answered this challenge. The cooperative expands by invitation only, Commander. We have no territorial ambitions beyond protecting our member worlds. The diplomatic dance continued for hours, with Dracons probing for weaknesses and the cooperative team demonstrating unity and resolve. Throughout, Rodriguez noted the Dracons' surprise at human diplomacy, especially the willingness to acknowledge limitations while projecting confidence. As the initial meeting concluded, Malcor made an announcement. The collective will host a demonstration of cultural and technological exchange tomorrow. Your delegation is invited to observe and participate. Rodriguez recognized this for what it was, a show of Dracon superiority meant to intimidate. But he simply smiled and accepted graciously. We look forward to the opportunity, Overseer, and we hope you'll allow us to reciprocate with demonstrations of our own. That evening, in the diplomatic quarters provided by the Dracons, the cooperative team gathered to assess their progress. They're testing us, Admiral Zhu observed. Tomorrow's demonstration will be designed to showcase their military and technological superiority. Vexthorn nodded. Standard Dracon protocol when dealing with potential rivals. They believe intimidation is more efficient than prolonged conflict. Not unlike the hegemony's approach, Dr. Chen noted, giving Vexthorn a knowing look. The former High Admiral's scales darkened slightly. Indeed, but as we discovered, such approaches have limitations when facing species that do not respond as expected. Rodriguez considered this. Then we need to ensure that we don't respond as expected tomorrow. Dr. Chen, what do we know about Dracon technology that might help us? The scientist consulted her data. Their quantum computing is impressive but follows predictable patterns. They favor elegance over redundancy, which means potential vulnerabilities if systems are forced to operate outside normal parameters. Admiral Zhu leaned forward. Similar to Zolaxian designs, they prioritize perfect function under ideal conditions rather than adaptability. A cultural trait reflected in their technology, Rodriguez mused. They expect order and hierarchy, and their systems are designed accordingly. He turned to Vexthorn. Admiral, if you were still commanding the hegemony fleet facing the Dracons, what approach would you take? Vexthorn considered this carefully. I would not engage them directly. Their military superiority is real, not bluffed like the hegemonies. I would seek unexpected approaches, asymmetric tactics, diplomatic surprise, cultural leverage. Exactly what humans excel at, Rodriguez smiled. Tomorrow, let's show them something they don't expect. The next day's demonstration took place in a massive amphitheater at the heart of the Dracon capital. Military parades showcased the collective's impressive array of weapons and soldiers. Scientific presentations revealed technological achievements designed to awe the visitors. Supreme Overseer Malcor watched with evident pride as his civilization's accomplishments were displayed. The collective has maintained peace through strength for 5 centuries, he explained to Rodriguez. Our defensive capabilities ensure that conflict is unnecessary. The implied threat was clear, but Rodriguez merely nodded respectfully. Most impressive, Overseer. Earth's history is filled with similar philosophies. When the Dracon demonstrations concluded, Malcor turned to the cooperative delegation. Now perhaps you would share some representation of your alliance's capabilities. This was the moment they had prepared for. Rather than trying to match the Dracon's military display, a contest they might not win, they had planned something different. Rodriguez stepped forward. With pleasure, Overseer. Rather than sequential demonstrations from each world, we'd like to show how the cooperative functions as a unified entity while preserving the unique strengths of each member. He nodded to Dr. Chen, who activated a holographic display. What followed was not a military parade but a real-time problem-solving demonstration. Representatives from each cooperative world, including both humans and aliens, tackled a complex scientific challenge involving stellar plasma containment, a problem the Dracon Scientific Corps had publicly declared unsolvable just last year. As the diverse team worked, their different approaches and perspectives visibly complemented each other. Zolaxian quantum theory merged with Hue,